Good evening. Good evening to all of you. Very happy to be here. And this is really exciting. I'm looking at all my monitors. I have like 3, 4 monitors and don't know which one I should be looking at. That's interesting. Anyhow, I bless you all for coming here, for being here. It's going to be an exciting night. We are waiting for Chandra to come on board. But if you're listening and hearing me, it would be great to have a little bit of feedback and see who is joining us. I'm going to check I'm going to check on Facebook and see if we're broadcasting or not yet. It doesn't look like it's happening yet. So we have a little time while we wait for Chandra. Okay, it looks like I'm in Facebook already. This is great. Okay, Bonnie, you sound great. Thank you from New Hampshire. Awesome. Listen, Bonnie, when I bring the volume, it sounds too loud. It sounds good. I know there's a little delay, so when I'm asking, it probably takes like 5 minutes to get it here in the chat room. So this is all new to me, so bear with me. Trying to make this this interesting. I'm working with 2 monitors, so it's a little aggressive. Bonnie says it's good. So great. So for the ones that are joining and are watching today, the New Earth radio show, I'm so excited. This is a dream of mine to have a show, to come on board, and to especially in situations like this ones, right? That we are so disconnected. Hey, Marielle, Amelia, joining here. The situation that we are currently living is kind of like not allowing the proximity, the workshops that I'm so used to doing, and singing and doing all of that. So I found that this is a great way to stay connected and to bring different news and different people on board. And I think that Chandra is just clicking here to come on board. So there she is. Your camera is upside down, Chandra.
Hi, Pierre.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Do like this. See if you can move your camera the other way. Landscape. Is that good for you?
See. How's that?
No, you're still sideways. Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
You will have to. Okay.
I'll do this.
Take your time.
Straighten it out here.
Listen, is I haven't seen you for a while, so we're in the same age bracket, or probably you might younger than me. You know, we know each other without glasses, right?
Right.
But when it comes to all of this, I mean, if you don't have glasses, you cannot see what's happening here.
So how's that?
Great. Oh, that's perfect. I see you perfect. I hear you well. Do you hear me well?
Perfectly.
Do you hear music in the background?
A little bit.
A little bit. Does it sound clear or it sound like kind of like annoying? Let me bring it up.
Yeah, no, that's nice. It's no, it's good. It sounds clear.
Okay. I just want to keep it not so loud so you won't interfere.
Are we
So,
live?
my good friend Chandra Sun Eagle, I want to welcome you to the show. I'm so excited that you're coming on board. This is my first show, and somehow, we've been talking, connecting, and it's great to have you. So awesome. And before we start, I would like to just connect in a different way. I want to do a little prayer to invite you. Okay, and the same for me.
Sounds
Heavenly
beautiful.
Father, beloved Creator, Father, Mother, God, we are grateful to be here. We are grateful to be here present on this particular time on the earth. Uh, we feel that we've been training for years for this moment, and we're happy that we're here. And we're calling all the light workers, light warriors, shamans, healers that know their purpose and the reason why are they here incarnated at this particular time of the earth. At this present time, we are 7.8 billion people on the earth. And we all have come to this great moment to see this great, great transformation of the earth. And we ask to connect with you, Father, Mother, God, allowing us to connect within. And Chandra, I call you, your knowledge, your wisdom. I call everything that you are, that you have brought up to now in your timeline, all the work that you've done that has allowed you to transform and be who you are. And I also call that part of you that is not necessarily in your body to be available to you, your higher self, your multidimensionality, all that you are, to come and bring the wisdom directly from source, from our beloved Creator, Father, Mother, God. So I welcome you into the show, that we both bring beautiful thoughts, beautiful ideas, beautiful visions for the world. And we are just a little speck of the 7.8 billion people, but very grateful to show up and to come on board and being able to bring this. So I bless you, all of you, to be here with us. Aho.
Aho. Thank you, Pierre. Thank you for that beautiful invitation. And I'd like to do the same for you and everybody else that is watching right now and will be watching later and listening and tuning in. Divine Mother, Divine Creator, Holy and Eternal Truth Light. With the unity of the heart and the mind, the body and the soul and the spirit, as one with each of us, Pierre, I invite you, your high self, your oversoul, your divinity, your source creator who shows up as Pierre, and all of your wisdom, all of your gifts, and the destiny that you have come to fulfill in this lifetime in the most peaceful, beautiful, graceful, joyful, inspiring way. Thank you, Pierre, for bringing us together into this sacred space to share, to listen to Creator, to listen to our high selves, to listen to the Pachamama, our ancestors, those that have come before us. Aho.
Aho. Thank you. So very grateful for you to join us in this very special time. And I also want to acknowledge all the people that are joining, Bonnie, Amelia, Marielle, Liam Blake, Sherry Arum, and Rachel Blank, all joining us, the ones I can see here in this new software that I downloaded today. So that is allowing me to broadcast everywhere. So it's one of those things that I'm just knowing is working. So it's awesome. So yeah, first and foremost, I wanted to just mention that the reason of this show, creating New Earth Radio, is to bring visionary people, spiritual people, to join us, the ones that have been dreaming the world into being for many years, the ones that have done the work, that have gone into the shadow and come out of the shadow with these beautiful, butterfly wings or eagle wings, and are here flying and bringing light and allowing to anchor in this light into the earth that we needed so much. I want this show to be a show of hope, a place that people can come in and find that there are many things out there that we are not getting. So it's not coming through a regular media, TV, and all of that, and it's not even coming through social media. So I'm hoping that this channel will be available and on for a while, and that we can talk about spiritual things and help many coming on board and feeling elevated and nourished and replenished, so they can go back into the world and continue with this work. Because I feel that everything starts within ourselves, and that's where we first have to find peace, have to find that calmness, so we can broadcast that beautiful signal through our luminous field and start changing one person at a time, changing and inspiring the earth and the new earth that we are creating. I am kind of like refusing to use the term world anymore. And I just want to stick with Earth as this human planet Earth that we have, and that is so beautiful. So Chandra, with that introduction, I would like to just give you a couple minutes to tell me a little bit about you, your trajectory. How do you get started as a shaman, as a healer, a light warrior, light worker? And if you can give us a little bit of your personal information, that'd be great for people to know who you are.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you, Pierre. Probably the best place to start, so this doesn't take too long, is in the late 90s, when I was already working in the healing arts, doing Thai massage and sort of personal training, coaching, lifestyle, fitness, wellness. And I became maybe dissatisfied is a good word for a little while. I had a mild depression, and I just had this sense that there was something else I was supposed to be doing, but I didn't know what it was. And in the meantime, I was studying other energy healing techniques, and I had a friend that was so insistent that I was a medicine woman, and I didn't have any context for that. I have Cherokee in my blood, and I grew up close to nature, but I was like, well, how can that be? I was not born into that tribal setting. I didn't have a grandmother that was teaching me herbs, this type of thing, but she gifted me a session with a Chumash Indian woman. And that session was extremely profound. She did a soul journey, and revealed a lot of things about past lives for me, and explained that a lot of the melancholy and sadness that I felt was for the earth herself, for humanity. And just by her naming that, it helped lift it a little bit. And she also came back with the information of me being a medicine woman in past life, and that I'm here to do that again and to awaken that sort of reincarnation here in this lifetime, but in a new way. And so after that, it was a series of dreams, visitations from the spirit world, very intense dreams. I didn't have a personal teacher or guide at that time, so I sort of was, which I feel is part of the initiation, um, was to take myself through it in a way and to trust what I was getting and to trust what was happening to me. And I kept it close to home. I didn't tell a lot of people, but it got so intense, these visitations and dreams and remembrances of being in Sundance, being in the Vision Quest, being in places where I wasn't sure, but it got so intense that at a point I couldn't tell what I had thought that maybe some of it was actually happening in like the real time in my life. I couldn't tell the difference between waking and dreaming. It was very exciting. It was very activating for me, and at the same time, not confusing, but I just had to keep writing it and going with it and trusting. And then in the early 2000s, ended up in Peru. I met you, Pierre, shortly after that.
After, right?
And then it was kind of a succession of working in North America with some Lakota women, and at the same time in Peru, and with some other teachers that I was learning polarity therapy, but they were very shamanically oriented. So I had a lot going on and coming into the mix, and it was almost like once I said yes to the journey, the condor just came down and put its claws in my shoulders and just carried me everywhere. And it was just when I wasn't sure what the next step was, I would ask. My prayer got very strong. It got very focused. Mm-hmm. And, the next synchronistic thing that would come into my life, some kind of very unbelievable at times, but it would direct me to the next place and the next step, the next journey. And then in 2005, I ended up in Kauai for 11 years, where I did work with some Huna and some Hawaiian elders there. And so there's been this weaving of North America, South America, the Pacific. And I felt like there was so much medicine for me to carry that. But what it all streamed back to was the motherland of Lemuria. And so it's been this beautiful journey of having to again find my way of weaving what I have lived in other lifetimes that is present for this one. I would say for a little while without a whole lot of almost like permission or acceptance. I had certain people saying, no, you have to just find one path and stick with that. And I'm like, well, I would love to, because that would make things a lot easier. But that's not the way it is. So I work with people who have, they're not just on a shamanic path. They're on a path of awakening. They are very committed and devoted to their spiritual path, whatever that is. And so I've been referred to as like a guidepost for people because of the universality that I embrace and embody. Without an agenda, I'm able to bring through in that moment, whether it's maybe Hawaiian or North American wisdom or South American. And I was told, just one last little point, and this is in reference to your initiative to start this radio show and have these conversations with myself and other people, is that very early on in my journey, I think it was right after my vision quest, and I was in meditation and I was getting this message, and the message was like crystal clear that I was here to receive the initiates and to help activate those who are here to embody the frequencies of this time and the new earth. And I was like, you know, what? Like, how is that? What is that? Like, I feel like I'm just remembering myself. But as the years have gone by, I see very clearly that role that I have, and it was my work to prepare myself for that and know that my journey is also continuing through that and through the people, that the light warriors, the light workers, the Lemurians, you know, whoever it may be, that is here to be an anchor, a pillar for you know, their particular role in all of this, but as a real pillar for their community. So yeah.
You know what I feel is that a lot of people like you and I, we've traveled a lot. You know, same for me. You know, I left Peru, coming to study music in the States, and then I started rediscovering many things, and coming, you know, first to Yogananda, then the shamanism started knocking on my door. A friend of mine sent me ayahuasquero from Peru that was in New York City, and then I started just hosting these shamans that were being sent to me, and I didn't even plan it.
Yeah.
And with all of that, you know, there is, in my case, there is coming to Yogananda, finding that piece in Los Angeles. That's probably one of my most meaningful pieces was finding Yogananda through the Self-Realization Fellowship in Pacific Palisades. And then, you know, shamanism started knocking at my window. One night, a wolf just started howling in front of my window, and, you know, and I was being called to go to the top of the mountain. And I ended, you know, I followed the call, and I ended at the top of the mountain, and some amazing things happened in my life. I ended manifesting a house for $200 in Los Angeles, very close to Westwood, and you know the area. So, you know, for $200, I live in Los Angeles, you know. And when I went and did that, it was before The Secret. It was in the 1990s. And I was told to get in a triangle at the top of the mountain and start breathing and start working with the elements and attracting what I wanted to attract. So I knew it was, it had to be in the same street that I was. I was going to help an old lady, and it was going to have 2 rooms, and I was going to pay $200. And I was paying like $1,000 for 1-bedroom apartment in Westwood. So this happened, you know, and it happened in the same street that I asked for. So amazing things happened to me as well, and brought me little by little into, I thought it was going to be a very spiritual path in the sense of mantras and yoga and Yogananda, and suddenly, you know, everything is weaving. It's not just Kriya Yoga, it's shamanism, and everything is just taking form. It's Buddhism, teachers from the Dalai Lama, and finding those connections, right, is the important piece. Is that connections, as you're traveling and meeting other people and connecting, you start discovering pieces of yourself that are really important for the remembrance of who you were and who you are, and what you're bringing at this time to the earth. I think that there's many light warriors and maybe it's your case, it was my case, where you don't get to this place where you are, of everything opening and awakening without having gone a process of transformation. And most of us had this amazing light since we were little kids, right? You had all this bright light, and suddenly, invisible energies were, I remember seeing them in my bedroom and freaking out. And with that, with all of that, there's some different initiations in my life. I don't know, how was that for you?
Childhood was, I got in trouble a lot in school for
Yeah.
zoning out. I wasn't zoned out. I was in these other
Well,
worlds,
right.
and it wasn't, it wasn't coming from something I was fabricating in my imagination. It was like I was just gone at times, and I can remember many instances, even as a young adult, somebody like snapping their fingers in front of my face, going, "Chandra, where are you?" And I'd come back, and they'd be like, "Where did you go?" And I was like, "Well, I can't really talk about I don't really know how to talk about that." But yeah, so I got sort of a label placed upon me that was like flaky,
Mhm.
or yeah, kind of airheadish or something, when in actuality, it's not the truth at all. I am a triple Gemini. I have a lot of air. I have a lot of mind energy and intelligence, but that takes me to where the most interesting conversations are happening, whether it's in front of me or if it's out in the stars. So I had to learn how to get shake that label, and then kind of hone my gift.
Yeah. Well,
And
and I think, and I think you've done it. I mean, it's just every time that we go to remember how we were as a kid, is you still think that you have something like that, but you basically mastered so many things in your life.
yeah,
Yeah. And I remember me being a kid that will speak whatever came through my mind. And now
mm,
that I look back, I said, I think I was channeling whatever people were not willing to listen, and I always
uh-huh,
got myself in trouble. So here we are, and um, is we are here in a reality that is real for many, and I want to acknowledge a lot of people that are struggling with whatever is our current situation with this, what we call the pandemic, and acknowledge that people have lost, family members, and have gone through very difficult moments through, having themselves go through this process. It's an obvious process that for many is real, and it kind of like appears to be like reality, that this is reality and this is real, and it is a menace that is still continuing and is not letting go. And I feel that we need to bring some elements. I think because we all knew that many of the systems were going to crumble. We just didn't know how.
mm,
We hear many stories that the earth will know and it will remove whoever the earth didn't need to have on the earth, or it will eliminate the systems that were not needed.
mm,
And here we are in a situation where many of the systems are crumbling, as many of the corruption and things have come to the surface, and we can see it, that it's not only in Peru, it's everywhere, right? You thought, well, it's in Bolivia. You think, well, no, it's in the States, it's everywhere. So
mm,
the light that has come in the last, I would say, 25 years, increasingly after the Mayan calendar, has really, turned the world upside down. What we know in Peru as Pachacuti, right? The Pachacuti. So the Pacha being the earth and Kuti flip the earth. So we are experiencing a moment like this where the basically everything is being leveled. I mean, there is a feeling of many things coming down and being leveled. And my feeling is that we need to start focusing on what is next. You know, many of us have been doing ceremonies and anchoring light on the earth. And here we are in a situation where this light has really evolved into something different, right? It had brought a lot of things that were in the dark to the surface, and now we are in that place where many things are being leveled, and we need to bring those elements. So, what my question to you is, what do you think those elements are? What are we bringing to the new earth?
Well, I love that question, and I'm just seeing where I should start. You know, when we first talked, when you called me and that you said you wanted to do this show, you know, the first things that were just front and center, very present, in the name of this show, Seeds of Our Becoming, or this particular talk, is the recognition, first of all, that we are the seeds.
Okay.
And we have to nurture, water, tend to the seeds that we've been given, and the codes and the personal gifts and skills and talents that we each carry, to understand that that inner wisdom within us is, it's like the bed, the cocoon, the for those seeds. And so I guess the first thing is what we're bringing to the new earth is our divinity in human physical form. And years ago when I was on Kauai and I was sitting at a heiau and speaking with the whales on the earth, the message that I got there was that we are really, we've built up this like shell of protection and all of the programming and opposing force programming of beliefs, and that we are not that, you know, and through religion and whatnot, that it's each of us to bust that open so that we can fly and soar, as you said, as the hummingbird or the eagle or the condor, so that we can pull down the frequencies and anchor them in our DNA, or activate it with this, so with the celestial codes. And I don't know, you know, it's there's so many, as you've spoken about, the dismantling and the falling, kind of the crumbling of a lot of our infrastructures, and with that, beliefs and just collective mindsets, collective attitudes, collective propensities toward using our energy in certain ways, in return, literally, and bring ourselves back into that role of the guardians of the sacred.
Mm-hmm.
And when we each live in that way, by honoring the sacredness within us, and, you know, honoring and integrating all of our shadow aspects, and not putting anything outside of ourselves. You know, we have, you know, and I just speak collectively for most of us, we have given our power over to in some way or another. And it's really time to not be looking outside of ourselves for the world necessarily to change, but really to embody it through our own self-love and bringing that inner sun to full magnificence and full luminescence. And, I have my personal, vision that for this next phase, and that is to move to Hawaii and create a quite a extraordinary sanctuary healing center, re-education center, reprogramming center, where indigenous wisdom, indigenous ceremonies, all of that will be brought together with new technology, or technology that maybe isn't so new, it just hasn't fit, it's been kept from us. So quantum healing devices and whatnot. So we can bring these two worlds together. And in that vision, there's another aspect, and that is like you said, it's time now to start bringing in, and what's the next steps, because it's not about fighting or getting the old world to change. It's about building, and at least in my sense of things, it's about creating and building parallel to it. So we're not spending energy trying to change something that really it's not changeable in that way, if that makes sense. And so to start, however small or however big, each individual is becoming that guardian, that caretaker of themselves, the divinity within them and the earth, and then following, just as we were talking about earlier about our journeys, following what Creator brings through us and trusting it and doing it, and having that faith that you so often speak about, Pierre. Our faith is our bridge, and when we don't have our connection with Creator, we don't really have that bridge. But it's like we're building the temples of the new earth that are community based, whether my community's in Hawaii and you're in Canada, but we have that web, that connection, right? And that interstellar connection. So yeah, those are my first thoughts are really about nurturing the seeds within us and within our home, within our land, and being open to receiving, whatever vision Creator is bringing through for us, knowing that we don't have to, it doesn't have to happen all tomorrow. There's going to be steps and phases to it.
Yes. And I totally agree with you. I think that we need to recognize first who we are, even if we don't 100% believe it, because it's a process, right? It doesn't happen from one day to the next day. Yeah. It's a process that we go through a transformation where you can really connect and have that connection with the divine, to be able to see see that you have that divine spark, and second, that you resonate with that, and that but first of all, everything comes with self-acceptance. If there's no self-acceptance, self-love, that's not going to happen. So planting that, from there, finding that seed that starts awakening and being able to anchor that very solidly on the earth, I think is where everything can shift. I mean, it's quite impossible to create something new if we create from a broken space. So the first thing that we need to do is recognize where we are. And I think that many people, with this whole 1 year of craziness, people have been pushed from one place to another place, and to be facing themselves, and either accepting and seeing yourself and working with yourself, or going nuts. I mean, it's kind of like the situation doesn't allow you to have another option. Is you either become
precisely.
enlightened in your cave, or go nuts, right? It's like kind of like a guru that goes up to the Himalayas into a cave to meditate, and he just finds boredom, or enlightenment. It's either or, right? So it's kind of like we've been forced to deal with our fears, to deal with our shadow, to deal with the things that scare us the most. And the difficult part of this is that how this all has played is basically creating more division, more separation between people.
Yeah.
And people feel it, right? We all love to be touched. We all love to be embraced and hugged. We all love to see somebody smiling at us. And we just see this stuff, right? And we don't know if they're smiling or not, unless they kind of like raise their eyebrows.
It's so strange. It's just, it never even entered into my consciousness, this whole mask thing. Like, I still get out of the car and forget my mask.
I always do.
But yeah, sorry if I interrupted.
So, for many people, they are going through a process. I mean, it is a soul. It's a night of the soul. The dark night of the soul. Going in as a collective, we're going through that process. Many people are doing it alone. And what I would like to say is that is self-acceptance and trusting. There's have been so much programming, as you well were saying, that we have completely disconnected from believing who we are. And I'll tell you a story. I used to work with twin shamans. I worked with them for 7 years, and I love them and adore them. They are fantastic. And from the beginning, as I would work with them, they always say, "You have no faith. You have no faith." And I will say, "But what are you talking about? I pray. I believe in God. I pray." No. That's not faith. That's not faith. So for many years, I dealt with them, and they basically put me down. Isabel will put me down all the time until year number 5. I worked with them for 7 years. And then in year number 5, she said, "Now you get it. Now you get it. And you have faith now." And what I've noticed is the way that they saw faith was believing in yourself, that you are basically invincible and invisible, and nothing can touch you, nothing can hurt you, and you are in control. As a light worker and warrior of light, we encounter so many different things. So it was like being the warrior. It's kind of like the martial art warriors. You always, you're always ready.
Yeah.
You're here in the heart, but you're always ready. You're always ready here, but you're here in the heart, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
For all those years, I struggled with having faith and saying, well, what does it mean? And Isabel will say, one of the biggest sins that people have is that they don't believe on themselves. They don't believe that they're God. They don't believe that they have that divinity inside. And believing that they are small, And all of that is, yes, our upbringing. It is our mental programming. It's our school systems. It's so many things, And with that, when you talk about school systems and you see what's happening in the school systems, it appears that in many countries, the school systems have their own personal agenda, right? It is because, for example, some of the educational systems that I looked upon, it was the Waldorf education, the Montessori education. They are very artistic and very self-sufficient and confidence, and they build your confidence and they expand your brain, not only by learning and repeating, by having extra things that come from you, from deep inside, through your right side of the brain and intuition, when you talk and when you speak and when you do a test. And so they work on expanding the right side of the brain, not only the left side of the brain. So with that said, and going back to what's happening right now, I feel that for many, we are going through a process, and we have to trust this process. It doesn't matter who created it, okay? We can say, well, it's the Cabal, the Illuminati, or this name or this other. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter, because we are in our own personal process. It's our own personal process. Is okay, you want to ascend with the earth. You need to move away from the first chakra, the negative side of the first chakra. So you're alone, so you're not getting nurturing. Well, there you go. Self-nurture yourself, pamper yourself, love yourself, ground yourself, right? And then, so we can move to the second chakra, where we become creative, and we can bring creativity, and we can bring, but we need to go through that, because this process of the Kundalini process is an ascending process. And I mean, you can go to the heart, but if your first chakra is open that big, I mean, like the size of a quarter, right? The energy that's passing through that gate is the size of a quarter. So when it gets to the heart, even if you open your heart, it's the size of a quarter. So the process is going within and really go face on to whatever you fear. If you fear death, you need to go face on with death and say, okay, what if I die? I die. What's going to happen? If this is my worst nightmare, well, I die. Let's imagine it. Let's die of COVID, and let's go through that process, and then dissolve that, because we are worrying of something that is happening in the future and it's not happening now. And it's really curtailing everything that we can do. Our creativity is curtailed. Our laughter, our joy is curtailed. I mean, if we cannot find these technologies that we can see each other, we haven't seen each other for so many years, Chandra, right? And then there's this technology that allows you to communicate and be with someone. Or there is, connecting in prayer and ceremony, and letting you know, hey, I'm doing this ceremony. Let's connect in ceremony. Let's do this. There's so many ways to connect and to transform all this that we are being exposed to, because at the end, it's only us. Let's say that there is 0.0001% that is in charge of creating wars, creating havoc, exploiting people, ripping off people, with taking your money away or whatever. And we are the rest of that big number, 7 million people against 900, or probably more than that. It's a numbers thing. If we all pray, if we all do the same thing, and we can get together to pray and create that shift, it will happen. How much do we believe on who we are, how much that divinity is inside that? Jesus says, or Yeshua says, if you have faith, you can move mountains. Don't you know that you're God's? Better and bigger things than me you can do. He told that to the apostles. And here we are. We believe that we're nobody. I even believe that, if there's some side effects with the vaccines, and some people are talking that there's nanotechnology, they want to control your mind, they want to, and all of that stuff. You hear it, everywhere. Actually, it's not that you hear it as a conspiracy theory. You go to Moderna's website, and it says, this is kind of like the firmware of a computer. It's a programming that we're doing through your DNA, and it's in the website. So if there is any adverse effects, I think that by tapping no into fear, but really tapping into the powerful being that you are, that we are, all these negative, you know, this stuff is information that being inputted through an injection. By intention, we can destroy whatever is negative or harmful that can harm if that's the intention, if that was the case. You know, with thought, with intention, with raising your frequency, your vibration, that can shift, that can change. So we are amazing beings, and if we just, come together, start seeking community, even though we are, right now, they make it difficult for that, but getting together as community and really overturning all these things that the people are experiencing. It is possible. We can do it. It's not a miracle. It's scientifically proven, and you probably know that miracles are now. You know that a miracle can happen. Spontaneous remission can happen. You go to one of Joe Dispenza's workshops, and he monitors everybody with so much technology that he knows exactly when somebody's going to have a nirvana
brain feedback. Mm-hmm.
And after you reach that space, all the endorphins and all the hormones come back from your own glands. You start creating all the chemistry that brings you into this superhero, super being, and that is possible. In other times, we'll say, well, that's a miracle,
Right.
That's, I went to see Benny Hinn, and then, and he touched me and received Christ in my heart, and there's that transformation, right? But now we know that, yes, that happens in instances like that, but it also happens when you do your own personal inner work, and then you can allow the Kundalini rising, which would be this hot feeling in the spine, where all this, Kundalini energy is moving through your cerebral spinal fluid all the way to the brain and out, right? And all of that is possible. It hasn't been easier, I think. Enlightenment hasn't been easier in any other time than now. But we are focusing on the vaccine, we're focusing on the COVID, and we're not focusing where we need to focus, where we have all that information right now. What do you think?
Yeah. Well, I think I agree with you on all the points that you made. And there's a reason why the challenge is the challenge as it's presented to us, meaning this is the most sort of miraculous moment, and there is so much progression that's happened and evolution, and we do have so many beautiful people that are these way showers and leaders in various realms and techniques, that there's so much available to us to do this. And that's why I feel, 2020 and 2021, I believe, in the Toltec tradition, are said to be the most transformative years, and into 2022. And how did they know this? They knew this because of the astrological lineups, and that the frequencies of light coming in would assist humanity in reaching that place that is, where we're meeting ourselves again, that divinity. And so, the opposing forces, the cabal, the elite, those that know that as well and want to hijack, they're doing a pretty good job. And yet they don't have the power that we have. We have souls. A lot of these opposing forces are, it's like, well, why do they want to stop us so badly? If you think about that logically, it's like, why is there so much bombarding us. And I wanted to say that you mentioned something about, coming together as community and online, and we have to, we have to do what we have to and what we can right now to stay connected, because there's days, maybe where I'm not, maybe I'm feeling a little less elevated, but you're feeling great. Like, I need to be able to reach out through my network and say, hey, I need a little, a little lift up. Yeah, and I'm here if you need that. But and then in the combination of what you were saying around the personal process of each of us having to go into our own cave and into our own vision quest, and it's a long one, but in those times is when our prayer can get so, and our faith gets so strong and unbendable. And then when we come back out into community, and when we do get to join physically, we're going to be in a more sovereign, self-responsible place, which sets up a whole different dynamic of relationship, and therefore something new can be created. So I feel that this process of going in and then coming out a little bit, and then we'll go back in a little bit longer, or another time, and then, because we are going to be able to come back out and be together physically, which I feel, I've been connecting, with you and other people, calls and Zoom and whatnot, but I'm a very tactile person. Like, I want to feel you, and yes, I can feel your energy, but I want to reach over and be able to give you a hug and hold your hand, or be in that circle around the fire. There's something that I think people, once they do come out, are going to realize to a greater degree and a new level of how profound that is for us as a human family. And then when we do come together in our own, more of our knowing ourselves, sorry, I don't know if I went blank right there. Oh, there I am. I feel that we'll come together, and we'll circle up around the fire, or with our drums and with our music, and we're going to create this flower of energy that we don't quite know which petal is going to unfold first.
Beautiful.
So it's a very organic process to stay with, I feel, and we just have to keep listening, recalibrating, adjusting, and kind of ride the waves. And whatever, there's something in psychotherapy when somebody's gone through an intense trauma, where maybe they disassociated a bit, they're out of their body, there's some soul loss, and you're trying to bring the person to a safe or a secure place where they are not wrapped up in just the energetics and the feelings of the trauma and lose themselves and think that they're going through it again. We find them something to attach to, and meaning a memory that invokes and evokes a state of coherency. And I feel that is really important right now, as we're still passing through this time. We're not quite out into the, back into the free world. And it's not, I don't think that we're just going to walk out one day and be like, because there's people that are very fearful. They're still going to wear the masks. I went into town today. The state has lifted the mandate, but apparently private businesses still have the legal right to refuse you service if you don't have a mask.
Right.
And so I guess my point being is that sorry, I got off a little bit there. See how it takes us off. Oh, funny. Can you bring me back to where I was right before that?
Well, we were talking about going into the cave and coming out, the process of transformation. You were talking about the dissociation, what we call susto in
Yes.
Peru.
Yeah. So that attachment. So I think it's very important for each of us to have a very strong memory
Mhm.
of a time when we have been in community where we have felt that connection and that support and being seen by others and seeing others, and so that we are carrying that energy forward, which is part of that bridge of faith to bring us into the new, as you know, we get to the end of the rainbow and onto the other side of this.
Mhm.
And you know what I see is there's waves of people coming through, um, and those of us who go first, you know, we don't go back to get the people, but we stand at the end and we shine the light,
Mhm.
and we say, just follow the light, follow the light, just keep
Mhm.
following the light. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are just yeah, so I feel, you know, I feel a responsibility, not for other people, but I feel a responsibility to Creator and to the Mother Earth and for the
Mhm.
divine plan that,
Mhm.
you know, a little bit has gotten hijacked by the dark. But dark, evil energies are discordant with divine energies, and they will eventually destroy themselves.
Yeah.
So,
That's how I feel that they're gonna be.
mm,
They're being siphoned out of the earth right now.
mhm. Yeah, there's a lot. I woke up last night and there was a lot of activity.
Hmm.
And I was like, whoa. And I just, you know, I heard the words real clearly, like, just there's a lot passing through right now. Just
Yeah.
you don't need to be concerned about any of it. Just, it's like, let it through.
Yeah. So,
Hmm.
you know, I think that for many that are watching and probably going to watch a little later, it would be great to give some good medicine for some people of what to do, how to handle the situation where they are, what's the best way to navigate through this process or take advantage of that you are in the cave and do something about it. Because at the same time that we are experiencing this pandemic and vaccinations and all that, the energy that is coming in is mega strong. I don't know if you follow the Schumann resonance shifts. Okay, so that's really coming very strong, and with that light, there's a lot of sensations and feelings and heightened awareness
Hmm.
and feeling that if you're all clogged and tight, you feel like you're gonna explode. So it
Hmm.
is very good to understand that process because we are being run through an increased voltage
Hmm.
and with that we need to learn how to handle the voltage
Hmm. Hmm.
and and expand in areas that we haven't expanded before. So when we digest that energy, the result is enlightenment and not breaking apart, right?
Hmm.
And so you
Hmm.
have to allow yourself to to open up and receive.
Hmm.
So some of the things that we're doing is a lot of earthing, walking barefoot. Now that the snow is literally melting right now, that's a good thing to do to discharge a lot of the ions positive that we are getting. Getting in water, salted water is great.
Hmm.
Walking on the beach is great. Listen to good music, relaxing music. You just mellowing out and relax, right?
Hmm.
And
Yes.
and consciously work in saying to yourself, as I listen to this music, I am opening all the pathways in my body. Wherever there is shadow, there is memories, there is sadness, there is whatever there is, unresolved things. I just allow the energy to come and clear me and release and let that go. Most of the problems that we're seeing has to do with the first chakra being closed and the panic attacks. And how I see it is, once you're disconnected to the earth, because the coccyx is pointing down, right? It's pointing straight down, and then once you get all tense, it's kind of like you move the coccyx from pointing down, you move it to the side, so you don't start getting that direct connection with the earth. So relaxing all those pubic muscles, or PC muscles as we call it, it helps just allowing yourself to start breathing from the first chakra and connecting to the earth and bringing that energy up to start nourishing and bringing all this nourishing through the spine all the way to the upper chakras. Because what happens is yes, we're getting bombarded with these high energetic vibrations and frequencies. Mostly we're taking it from here, from the head. So if we're not grounded and connected, and that first chakra is not open, then we are losing touch with the earth, and the energy that we are bringing in is not running into the earth. And the energy that the earth receives is not running up. So we are not in that torus. We are like blocking that natural torus. So for me, the first chakra is the biggest problem, especially when we are being sold fear everywhere. Fear is I mean, if you're in the news, I don't listen to the news anymore. So, here and there, I just check what's happening. Are we in red alert, orange? What's the situation, right? But connecting with the fear is terrible. It's really
so detrimental.
Detrimental handicap. I remember the first days when COVID was announced, and they were talking about people dying by the thousands. I could feel the energy. I tap into that energy, and I mean, it was freaky. That day that I tap into the energy, I say, "Holy cow, this is freaky, man." And I immediately had to disconnect, and I said, "No, I'm not going to tap into that anymore. Forget it. I'm not going to be, run by that energy. I'm gonna stay positive, and to deflect it." And that's one thing. That's some of the things that people can do, like the water, walking, earthing, doing some guided meditations to open that first chakra, keeping yourself grounded. Read some pretty good books. I think Joe Dispenza has a great channel in Gaia TV that you can watch and see what's happening with the body with the process of enlightening. It's happening. It's available to everyone. So not putting some time and hours into the process is kind of like not wanting to do it, because the technologies are there, the information is out there. Even Wim Hof with his craziness, the Iceman. I mean, he's amazing. I've been taking cold showers, not really from the beginning, but at the end I do my, between my minute and a half to 2 minutes to 3 minutes here and there. But I mean, all of that work with your immune system and helps you being more active, more alert, and ready to go and do whatever you have to do. And it boosts your immune system. So we have some natural ways of boosting our immune system. It's all about fighting the acidity within the body, right? If we are alkaline, we're good. So I did a lot of work with magnets. At the beginning of the year, last year, I started working with the magnets. So that's another thing. The magnets, there's ways to put the magnets in the body that would really make your body very alkaline. Yeah. So there are technologies. There's many things that people can do for really boosting your immune system. And I know a lot of that as well.
Do you want me to share some?
Yeah, if you want to share.
Just on the note of the first chakra, absolutely. I think it's super key in being able to relax into the process and everything that's happening and feel, like all is well. And because Mother Earth has us, she always has, and she will. And if we can ride her energies up as she's ascending. The other thing around all the earthing and the grounding to me is, and your first question of the talk tonight was around, or one of the first was, what can we be doing? Like, what's the next step? And we are in this time of the masculine and the feminine energies balancing, and one not being dominant over the other, and approaching life from that feminine way, which is about relaxing, receiving, and becoming magnetic, so that we draw to us the people, the situations, the things that we need, the resources we need to carry out our mission. And when we relax, we listen and receive. So I love that part. I love all of that. And walking on the earth is, and to cleanse, as you said, the on a nutritional basis, that's a pretty big subject. But the things that I've learned in the last, so when I lived in Colorado, I was in the woods, no 5G towers. I mean, my internet barely worked. And now I'm, temporarily in Sedona, and right after moving here, discovered that I have a 5G tower, not very, very, very close.
Wow.
And I was one day, I'm not an anxious person. I don't get panic attacks. It's very easy for me to calm and ground in pretty much any situation. And I was like walking around the condo, and I was like, what is my deal? Why can I not like settle? And I was just, and then when I laid down that night, I could hear, it was almost like insects in my ears, like a high pitch, like cicada type of sound. And I was like, this is not good. So, I got online and I found some technology to block EMFs for the home to wear just, while I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And then, did more research about how to keep my brain, and then my chemistry, and therefore my hormones balanced, while all of that is sending funky microwaves. And it's been really good. And there's a couple of key elements that are not just for dealing with what we're getting bombarded with negatively, but they're also super key in connecting our higher centers and our brain and our circuitry to be able to handle the information and the high frequency energies that are coming in. And those things are that I've been taking are, I always make sure that I have my trace minerals and electrolytes every day, but then also fulvic minerals and humic, so that my gut is healthy, because the connection between the gut and the brain. And then and there's a lot of amazing products out there for that. And I think it's good for everybody to do their research, and I would be happy, if you and I wanted to put together, I don't know, like a resource list, so that people at least have some good ones, because I have done quite a bit of research.
I think that would be great, and I can add it to probably the YouTube channel. I can put it in the description about
Perfect.
some of the things that we talk, and add some of the things that you're doing, because you were talking about that C60, the purple power, like something good.
Yep. And that goes in and finds all the free radicals in the body and binds them, and then carries them out.
Yeah.
And then along with the movement and the earthing and grounding is I feel that it's important not just to walk, but to get explosive energy, like a quick sprint, you know,
Yeah.
a couple times a week where you're really like getting your heart rate up and moving, you know, energy out of your cells and like really like flushing the pipes. You know, walks are great and hikes are
Yeah.
great, but I do recommend to my clients that they, even just for 15 minutes, you know, it's like you go hard, then you walk. And it's so, you know, it produces so many endorphins and really helps clean the lymphatic system, clean the yeah, the blood, all of that.
Yeah.
And
That's
then yeah,
awesome.
one other um, product that has been really, really helpful. It's called Megahydronite, and it's very alkaline. And so I have a couple glasses of that every day. And I've just, since I've been doing all of these things, I just have been able to stay really steady. And you know, there's days where there's so much energy and there's so much happening astrologically, and you know, it's intense. We're it's an intense time. It's beautiful, it's good, but it's certainly calling upon our mastery. And it's
Yeah.
like now is not the time to back off on our any of our
Yeah.
practices, ceremonially, nutritionally, exercise,
Yeah. I
you
think it's
know.
impossible to live your life in default, because if you're in
Yeah,
default, not doing anything, you go down.
totally. There's no
So
middle
you,
ground
you
these
have to
days.
take you really have to take action and do
Yeah.
things.
Yep.
So get involved in a practice, doing I mean doing something, meditation, healing, yoga,
Yep.
anything, exercise. I
Yep.
think it's really important. I'm looking forward to the spring and the summer. I don't know if I mentioned it, but you know, Janice and I have the center here, and this last year we put the hammocks on the trees. So we have 25 hammocks, and I bought myself a PA and I started doing the sound
Oh, that's
healing,
beautiful.
in the forest. So it's just extraordinary. And the things that happen are just lovely.
Oh,
Everybody
that's gorgeous.
everybody's cocooning in the trees, and the hammocks have nets, and so for the mosquitoes. So it's really great. But you know, I also have felt the urgency that we need to move. You know, it's great to have the meditations, guided meditations, and laying down and relaxing at the level, very, parasympathetic energy, yin, and all of that. But I feel that we need to move and dance. So
Get the fire going.
this year I bought myself a looper. So I have I'm building trucks with a lot of percussion, and to get people dancing. And
Oh,
so there's a couple of things I would love to get involved into: ecstatic dancing. That's what I want to do. And also forest dancing. So a little more yin in the forest, more loving and yin. And then the other one more like toom, 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 a lot of rhythm. And I think that would really help people boost their immune system and move the energy.
yeah.
I believe that we are capable on rising our kundalini the same way. I mean, there's so many tribal music in Africa, in Brazil, in Cuba, all the tropical islands where they all dance around the fire, and kundalini energy was just like coming in and moving, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm really pointing at that for spring and the summer, because I think it's important for everybody is to just to feel their bodies and to move, even though
Yeah,
keep the distance of the 6 feet, the 2 meters, but you can dance alone, and be responsible in that sense, because that's what they want. But you can dance, all you want. So it's something that we want to do.
that's
So
beautiful. I wish I could
yeah,
be there.
yeah, I know.
Someday we'll get to play music together and
Yeah. Listen,
do it.
I know I have to go back to Lemuria, so I'm gonna probably it's going to be a visit from us before you come all the way to the Olaf here.
Perfect.
Yeah, we're really looking on doing traveling a little more to different places as well. So Hawaii is a place that I so much would love to connect. I lost you for a second. But Hawaii is a place I would love to connect. It will be great for the soul to connect, to go back to that so amazing place of Mother Earth that vibrates so strongly. Huh? It's a different kind of energy.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, I was on Kauai for 11 years, and you know, the land that I was on and owned, and it was very much about anchoring and recovering and awakening and activating a lot of Lemurian energy. And a few months ago, I started having dreams again with some kahunas coming, and I get the sense when what we're doing, and we're like out on the canoe on the water along the Nepali on the coast, and it's almost like portals within the cliffs are opening up, and different symbols are coming forward.
Wow.
Different beings, and I just get the sense that, you know, I'm going back to do the next work with the next phase of those energies. You know, I once asked a Mayan elder about, you know, like, well, where is Lemuria, or how do we access it? And he said that, you know, there are specific lands, the Hawaiian Islands per se, but also Aotearoa, New Zealand, Peru, all the like coastlines of North America are touched with it. And he said, but don't get locked into the geographical location of it, because those energies and that information and the frequencies of Lemuria are alive.
Right.
And there are places maybe where you'll feel it more, but so yeah, I'm excited to go back.
Awesome.
And just be the instrument, you know. I've gotten, as you have as well, just gotten so comfortable with not knowing, and it's actually way more fun because I could have never dreamed up, you know, consciously in this life what I've gotten to experience. So I just want to say to everybody here and present, thank you, and believe that you are here for a divine reason and purpose, and to nurture that. And thank you for doing that, because it will become the dominant force, not dominating over, but it will become the overriding energy, the love, the sacredness, the honoring, the stewardship of life and the earth and children and the animals. That will prevail. Light always prevails.
I agree, and I really want to thank you for coming on board. This is my first episode in this channel, so I'm really excited that you came. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Pierre. I'm so honored that I was the first one that you reached out to, and thank you for doing this and all of your activation and action in the world. And yeah, you're such a brother, and it just brings me a lot of peace in my heart to have our connection. So thank you.
And before we end this, can you tell us about your book?
Oh, yeah. I should have had one with me.
Yeah.
I do, but I would have to leave the screen. That's okay.
But the title of the book is?
The title of the book is Looking Back on the Future. The title was given to me in the dream time years ago.
Which is beautiful, yeah.
And then the subtitle is Timeless Wisdom of the Andes as a Bridge into the New Era. And I guess you could say the body of the book is focused around the 7 Saiwas, or 7 universal spiritual principles of creation that Viracocha, God, creator, dropped down as a ladder for those walking, the path of the Paco, but ultimately anybody who's walking that path of awakening to return themselves back to their God consciousness. And so there's the 7 Saiwas, and within that, there's particular other facets to the Andean cosmology that are very relevant for each of those Saiwas. And I also share personal stories within each of the 7 Saiwas, as to kind of give example of how, as somebody not living in Peru, but living my life, how those Saiwas came to teach me and how they showed up in the various events. So I share some personal stories, and I'm very excited. It's getting released August 21st this summer. And the publisher actually had reached out to me way back in 2005. I had a contract. I tried to write the book. I got a certain distance with it, and I was like pulling my hair out, and I said, I can't, I'm sorry, I can't do it. I printed what I had done out, and I had a big fire ceremony, and I just released it. And I said, Creator, I said, I'm doing everything I can. I know I'm in my own way, but perhaps there's more I need to live before it comes through. And I let it go. And then, we come back around through the years. And then finally last winter, I was sitting in this beautiful log home in the mountains with 5 feet of snow outside. And I thought, I told myself, I just knew that. I said, if I don't do it now, I just have to let it go. So I woke up one morning at 3 a.m. and I wrote straight for a couple of months. And then it went into editing, and I went back to the publisher and I said, I'm done. I know it's 15 years later, but I did it. And they were so happy. And
say the name again.
Looking Back on the Future.
Okay.
Timeless Wisdom of the Andes as a Bridge into the New Era.
Awesome.
And it's available for pre-order now on Barnes and Noble, Amazon. I don't love Amazon, but it's there. It's also on a couple of other places, but those are easy pre-order. And if anyone's interested, greatly appreciate the pre-order and the review.
Yes. Everybody that is listening right now and later on, we encourage you to look into Chandra's new book. Repeat the title again.
Yeah, no problem. I know it's a little bit of a mind. Looking back on the future.
On the future. Looking back on the future. Also, I love the title, by the way. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Listen, I want to thank everyone that was here. I think some people already, I was able to, this software allowed me to see who was here from Facebook and from YouTube. So I'm like, whoa, okay, cool. This is great. So
good job, Pierre.
Thank you, everyone. Tracy, Michael Porter was here. Michael, thank you for your insight as well. He's here in the chat. We kind of like my first time doing this thing, so I know a lot of you guys left already. Talk to Shauna, says hi, Chandra. So wonderful to see you and hear your wonderful voice and receive your words. You know who the person is, right, Chandra?
What's your name?
Talk to Shauna. Shona. Talk to
Oh,
Shona.
yes. Oh, thank you.
Aloha. She says aloha.
Aloha.
Mariel Losier, thank you for watching. Michael Porter, thank you. Lynn Blake. Sandra Woods, thank you. Thank you for joining. Bonnie Maroney, thank you. It was really a pleasure being here and being able to do this. And I know that there will be more things to talk about in the future, and you're welcome anytime to return, Chandra. And this is exciting. This is the first step.
It's the first step.
Yes, yes. So keep us posted of your travels, and when you're going back to Hawaii, we'd love to know once you're there. We can coordinate some ceremonies,
Absolutely.
together. Yeah, one of the ceremonies that we're planning on doing is working with the water, collecting water under the stars for some activations. So kind of like in the line of the Coyoriti. I don't know if you are familiar with Coyoriti in Peru.
Yeah, I've been there.
So the capturing of the Pleiadian star lights in the glacier, and people go and collect the ice, and that ice is used literally to bless the newborns and the seeds. So it's not really a metaphor, but literally is to awaken us. No, they bless us, but really that water and those codes from the stars that are in the ice and have been exposed to the stars is the water that we need to drink and not only drink but do ceremony to activate so much of our becoming, activating those seeds.
Absolutely. The Pleiades are the storehouse, the storehouse of our becoming. So it's another practice people can do.
Yes. So we're going to be doing this April 3rd, which is Easter Sunday. We collect the first waters of the spring. I mean, we get the waters on that Sunday. We have a natural spring over here, so we go and, they're charged of water right now, so we just go get them, and we use our water for drinking, but as well to activate it in ceremony. So we're going to activate the water as we collect it on Sunday, and then we're going to use our water to do activations of people.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, and wash them from all that nanotechnology in those vaccines.
Good job, Kurt.
Yeah. Listen, I thank you another time, and it was awesome to have you on the show, and we'll connect in the future. And big blessings to you. Good luck with everything, and send us any good things that you can send us regarding tips and things that people can use when it comes to products. I mean, sometimes people go and buy products and it's not the same. It's the same pharma companies that are putting the stuff, and they're not the best.
Exactly.
So
I'm very happy to do that.
Excellent. Give us some ideas on how to keep our glands working to the best so we can shoot out to nirvana state.
Yeah, supernova souls.
Supernova souls. Okay. Excellent. Very good. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
my
Pierre.
hands are disappearing in there. If I raise my hands go away.
Oh, slip on through.
Yeah, the chroma key, I guess, that Zoom has. Bye-bye. Namaste.
Ciao. Blessings, everyone.
Blessings. Bye-bye.